2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, it's Friday the 2nd of December and it's Faux Fur Friday. And a big happy birthday to Alfred Enoch, Sean Walsh, Britney Spears and Lucy Liu. The UK's in the middle of a wave of strike action and it's starting to feel like a general strike might be on the cards. Union leaders took part in a Sky News panel on Thursday after Wednesday's announcement that ambulance workers in England and Wales are set to strike before Christmas over a pay dispute. They'll be joining postal workers, rail workers, nurses and teachers who've already confirmed December walkout dates. Here's Dave Ward from the Communication Workers Union explaining what he thinks needs to change to see industrial action called off.
This country, more than at any point in our history, needs a new deal for working people.
Meanwhile, Dr Emma Runswick from the British Medical Association addressed the government directly.
You are able to stop strike action in the health service if you so wish. You just have to be willing to come to fair deals with us on the issues that matter to health workers.
And with the coordinated strike action across the NHS this winter looking increasingly likely, Kate Burley asked Labour MP Thangam Debonair for her view.
Do you support coordinated strike action?
Well, I really hope that it doesn't come to that, but it is on the government. It is on the government. It will be a government failure. If it does, that's a sign of government failure to take responsibility.
Winter is definitely coming, and NHS England's getting ready by launching 42 winter war rooms across the country designed to help health services cope with what's predicted to be an extremely busy winter. Introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic, the rooms allow staff to view real-time data about ambulance locations, as well as wait times, number of available beds and staffing levels in nearby hospitals. NHS England's Dr Vin Diwakar explains why this will be beneficial.
Now that means when we're under severe pressure, we can make decisions, for example, about diverting ambulances to hospitals that may be a little bit less busy at that particular point in time. Or we can organise mutual aid and support for staff.
It comes as the Liberal Democrats released data which revealed ambulance delays in England are at record levels, with patients in some parts of the country having to wait over an hour for potentially life-saving help. Lib Dem leader Ed Davey says the situation's unacceptable.
The government hasn't been listening, and the figures that we've published today as a result of lots of freedom of information requests, figures the government didn't want you to know, show that the delays on ambulances are the worst ever.
Thursday saw French President Emmanuel Macron make his first state visit to the White House of the Biden administration as he met with the American president to discuss trade agreements and their response to the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, wannabe third-time presidential candidate Trump faces an agonising wait to find out what Democrats in Congress will find now that they finally have his tax records after a prolonged legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court. He also lost an appeal on Thursday over the Mar-a-Lago classified documents. With the clock ticking until Republicans take over the House, former US National Security Advisor John Bolton made an appearance on Sky News to explain why he thinks Trump, who's already announced his presidential bid, may not actually become a candidate in 2024.
I think he's very worried he's going to be indicted by our Justice Department. This allows him to say he's being persecuted by the Biden administration for political purposes. And I think also watching the results of our midterm elections, Trump is worried he's going to lose the spotlight.
Thursday was day 2 of the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby's 3-day visit to the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv, where he's been meeting with civilians and church leaders to show support during the ongoing Russian invasion. Meanwhile, intense Russian shelling saw further power outages in the recently recaptured Ukrainian city of Kherson just days after electricity was restored to the region. Former British Chief of the Naval Staff Admiral Lord West says the repeated missile attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure are indicative of Russia's strategic failures on land.
The Russians, having failed tactically and their military forces, their land forces performing pretty abysmally, have realised that they need to do something as a game changer, and what they're doing is that they're attacking Ukrainian infrastructure on a bigger and bigger scale.
Still to come on the Smart 7, 2 more big shocks at the World Cup, and it's Dolly Parton and the Two Bears, right after this. Welcome back.
History was made in Qatar on Thursday when an all-female referee team took charge of a men's World Cup match for the first time in Germany's 4-2 victory over Costa Rica. Sadly, the result wasn't enough to take Hansi Flick's side through to the last 16, as Japan's shock 2-1 defeat of Spain ensured they joined the Spaniards in the tournament's knockout stages. And that wasn't the day's only drama. Earlier, Morocco beat Canada 2-1 to finish a surprise top of the table in Group F, while Belgium were knocked out of the tournament completely following a goalless draw with Croatia. It was a shock exit for the team, which finished third at the 2018 World Cup, followed by the announcement that long-term manager Roberto Martinez would be stepping down. Addressing the media after the game, he could hardly keep it together.
That was my last game with the national team, and it's emotional, as you can imagine. I can't carry on. Sorry.
Country music superstar and vaccine hero Dolly Parton made an appearance on Fallon this week to promote her festive movie musical Dolly Parton's Mountain Magic Christmas, which will be premiering on NBC later this month. While she was there, she also took the opportunity to try out some stand-up comedy with an amusing anecdote about a bear from her hometown of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
And they had a bear in a big cage up there, and people would stop at this market, and they would buy Cokes for this bear. It was in the cage. And one day, some redneck, they put gasoline in a Coke can, and the poor thing just went crazy. You know, all of a sudden, it just fell over.
Oh.
I don't know.
Dead?
No, it's out of gas.
Speaking of bears and coke, not a sentence we've had to use that often, the trailer's just dropped for Cocaine Bear, a new horror comedy about a bear who goes on a killing spree after accidentally ingesting a large quantity of the Class A drug. Remarkably, it's actually based on a true story. In 1985, a bear died after eating millions of dollars worth of the substance, which was dumped in a forest in Georgia. Nicknamed Pablo Escobar, his stuffed body became a tourist attraction in Kentucky before apparently inspiring a movie. Cocaine Bear will be released in the UK early next year, and it looks absolutely insane, so get ready.
The bear. It did cocaine.
There was a bear.
A bear?
It was.
Hey, that's inappropriate.
Apex predator. High on cocaine. Thought of its mind.
It kind of seems like the thing that stays with the man forever.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.